To order a special meeting of the Borough of Spring Lake Heights, special agenda, meeting of August 29th, 2011. Would you stand, please, for a moment of silent reflection and salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Enright?
Here.
Councilman Brennan? Absent. Councilwoman Cindy? Absent. Councilman Diver?
Here.
Councilwoman King?
Here.
Councilman Mechanico?
Here.
Councilman Vorbeck?
Here.
This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law. Notice of this meeting was included in a list of meetings sent to the Co-Star and the Asbury Park Press, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and on the borough website. May I have a motion, please, to approve the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? May I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Diver?
Yes.
Councilwoman King?
Yes.
Councilman Mechanico?
Yes.
Councilman Vorbeck?
Yes.
Okay, this is special items and public hearings. Just before we start, I was asked by our emergency management coordinator to tell everyone about, I guess everybody here probably knows, but about the fact that JCP&L is in town and that they are working on individual grids in town. And as a whole grid is inspected, all the wires are cut and new ones are put in or something, then they're going around and putting that electricity on. And south of us, I know, and Kat said she has electricity now. So it is starting to happen. Doolin's has it, the firehouse. So they seem to be working from the south to the north, but who knows?
I think we should also let people know that if you see any wire on the street or anything on the ground, please do not go near it. Stay away from it.
It would be devastating if they turn something on, and I know.
God forbid.
Also, ice is available and water at the Food Town on 18th Avenue, and
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but the Food Town's out of ice.
which one? Oh, it is?
Already?
Because they had said, well,
No, I was there.
did you say you were from Spring Lake
Yes.
Heights? Oh, well, I'll take that back.
It's okay.
Because they had said, they called Billy this afternoon, and down in
Probably have run on the
Madison.
place.
Yeah, that they, you know, if you showed your license or something, they'd give us ice and water. Okay, before we get started, I'd like a motion, please, to open a voice of the public.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, would anyone like to speak before we start on this? We have a motion to close the voice of the public.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Could the clerk read the title, please?
Bond Ordinance 17-2011, bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements and the acquisition of various capital equipment, appropriating $1,310,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,244,500 in bonds and notes to finance a portion of the cost thereof, authorized in and by the Borough of Spring Lake Heights in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion. I would just like to note for the public that something was taken out of the old bond ordinance, and that was the work to be done, excuse me, at Ocean Road Park. And our bond counsel felt that that really should come out of open space money. It should not be part of a bond. In fact, she did not want it in there at all. So we took her advice, and that has come out. And we will do that work, but use different monies, monies that we have and that are replenished each year by the state. So that's why the amount is different. Also, I'd like to explain that I asked for this special meeting because, especially after this hurricane, I am very concerned about equipment for a blizzard after what we went through last year. We cannot put big plows into Fairway Mews. We did not have the smaller equipment to do it. That's a front loader. And I just feel garbage trucks, 25 years old, it's ridiculous, as well as the front loader. So I have added a second ordinance tonight. If this first one doesn't pass, then I'm going to ask that the second one be voted on. Any other discussion?
Well, no, I'm in favor of the first ordinance you're here, because I have a sneaky suspicion that climate runs in cycles here. We had a heavy snow last winter. Of course, everyone knows what happened the past week here, so we could have used this equipment. And next year, we may be looking at the same thing. I'm a pessimist.
And with old equipment, yeah. Tom?
Yeah, as you said, that the Bush Road Park money has been taken out. But it still has a lot of the wish list items that, you know, the solar-powered speed signs, the license plate readers, and et cetera, et cetera. There's also over $200,000 of soft costs with this too. So I'm not gonna vote in favor of this one. I will vote for the other ordinance though.
Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
There's a couple of things that I want to point out before people get misled. There are not $200,000 in soft costs. You budget for up to 20% of soft costs, but that doesn't mean you will use 20% of soft cost. And it's misleading to the public to say that we're taking that money just for soft costs. You may not expend that money, and that's very critical to be understood.
What you're saying is that it will never reach 200,000.
It may not. It may,
What you're
could
saying-
it? It's possible, but it may not. And the point is, Tom, anything that you don't use, for example, if we went out and bonded 1.3 million, and we only used 1.1 million, we could cancel the rest of that bond, and then that money is not used. And in addition, if someone were to say, well, you know, you could take that $200,000 and use it for something else, you could only do it by coming back to this council and passing it, you know, revising this ordinance to allow that expenditure. So no one could do anything without the purview of the council.
Well, my only response is that I respectfully disagree. I like the second ordinance because it focuses on the necessary equipment and not this other stuff, which I happen to think is experienced.
Mayor? I'd like to respond. I drove up, and then driving around our town, and then driving up today to go to New York to take the ferry. Every single town, the police vehicles you saw were SUVs. Why? Because they could get through some of this water. You can't send a regular police car through this water. It's not high enough. The fact of the matter is, in terms of the speed signs, the solar speed signs, they actually help people reduce their level of speed.
Yeah,
They are very effective. And in terms of the DPW, after a winter blizzard that dumped 36 inches, and now nearly 10 inches of rain, anyone who thinks we don't need the front loader, who thinks we don't need a better utility truck, I have to say that you're just living in fantasy land.
Well,
Honestly.
I would like to respectfully respond and say that the second bond ordinance has the 2 sanitation trucks, it has the front end loader, it has, you know, I just think that this has too much fat in it to vote for.
Anyone else like to respond?
Yeah, Fran, I just want to make a comment. I know that this bond ordinance is kind of a difficult thing to do because it does encompass a great deal of funds. However, I think what we need to look at is that for as long as I can remember, I'm on the council now for almost 2 years, and prior to that, sitting in the audience, year after year after year, our department heads came forward and asked for various pieces of equipment. Garbage trucks has been pretty much at the top of the list for a very long time, along with other people's requests. And this is why delaying things is not good. When we get recommendations from our department heads, we should look at it carefully and act on it a lot sooner, and then you wouldn't have a multitude of things that you have to purchase all at one time. And I think over the next few years, we should be very diligent when our department heads do make requests and think of it over a long spectrum, and instead of shoving it under the carpet and saying, well, we're gonna put it off because we can't afford it, as long as we have the option to do a bond ordinance or to renew a bond ordinance or get another bond ordinance and roll over what we have, I think we should take advantage of those kind of options instead of getting ourselves in a bind like it appears we are now, even though I think we can get through this. But I don't think, you know, being concerned about things that you have to operate a town and not moving forward with it is a good way to go. So, you know, I am definitely in favor of this particular ordinance the way it stands.
Mayor, if I may. The other thing that I think would be very critical in this first ordinance, and this was a suggestion of the mayor, and I think it's an excellent suggestion. The mayor and I have discussed that, discussed it with other council people as well. We are getting less and less grants to do road work. The money's just not there. And in a situation such as this, whether it's a winter storm or this sort of storm, inevitably there will be damage to some roads because of water. Either in a rainstorm like this where a road could be washed out, in a winter storm where you could wind up with potholes and we wouldn't have the money to fix it. And if you don't have a grant, yeah, we just can't have it sit there. Now, and this is a perfect example of where there may be some soft costs involved because you have engineers, you have surveyors, you need to have these people out there to get specs. And I think it would be foolish not to have this reserve for the benefit of the town. To me, that road improvement is a safety issue for our people in this town. It's a safety issue.
I just want to comment that I brought this up to a special meeting. I think it's the only one we've had all year, maybe? Is it the only one? Only because if we do a first reading tonight, we do a second reading and voice of the public on September 12th. And if it were to pass, at least for the garbage trucks, Artie, how long does it take to get them? You just don't go out and buy a garbage truck.
It could be 6 months.
6 months. And even then, we're going to be, you know, we'll be well into the winter.
We'll probably get them.
And my concern was that we'd, you know, get them before the winter as close as we can. Any other discussion?
Mayor, I would like to say just one thing. That just reminded me when Artie was talking about the front loader and the backhoe. At the last meeting when this didn't pass, we talked about one particular piece of equipment that possibly should go under the utility. And I disagreed with that. My purpose was that exactly what we're going through right now, that piece of equipment could have been very, very handy. And if something was going to be used strictly for the water utility and for nothing else, I believe that would certainly suffice why it should come out of the utility capital fund. But when you're going to use a piece of equipment for other reasons in the borough to do other functions than something to do with utility, that's why I disagreed.
We're depleting it.
Yeah, and I really believe that keeping that piece of equipment intact in this bond ordinance is the right thing to do as well.
Any other discussion? Tom?
And again, I don't disagree that all these things are nice, but we have an alternative that doesn't have all the fat in it.
Any other discussion?
Call the question?
Well, would you have a roll call, please?
Councilman Diver,
Yes.
Councilwoman King,
Yes.
Councilman Mechanico,
Yes.
Councilman Vorbeck.
No.
So the motion passes tonight, we
Well,
just
that
need.
was on calling the
That's-
question.
That was
wait.
calling for questions.
Oh, was it on the question?
Yeah.
I'll say yes to
Oh, I'm
the question.
sorry,
Yes.
okay, oh, all right, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, now could I have a roll call for the
Ordinance.
ordinance, yeah, I thought that's what we were doing.
Before we do that, Your Honor, Attorney Lane, can Mr. Vorbeck change his vote on the call
Yeah,
of
'cause
the
it was-
question?
I was
Yeah, it
thinking-
doesn't matter.
thought it was-
He was,
you thought it was
I
like-
was, so this is
Voting
fine.
on it,
Yeah,
Because
Okay.
I'm calling the question.
let's do the ordinance, please.
Okay, so for bond ordinance 17-2011,
Right,
Councilman Diver,
Yes.
Councilwoman King,
Yes.
Councilman Mechanico?
Yes.
Councilman Vorbeck.
No.
so it passes because we
For
only need a
introduction.
simple majority
Simple
for
majority for
introduction.
introduction.
Next time we need a 2/3 of the governing body. May I have a motion, please, then, I can't make a motion, but to
What do you need from me?
delete ordinance, alternate bond ordinance number 18.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, and I didn't hear what were you,
We're deleting just the one for the garbage trucks,
oh, the second
because this
alternative.
is the first one passed, which had the garbage trucks in it.
Actually, if no one moves it and no one seconds it,
It's
it,
dead.
we're
It's
done.
dead? Oh, okay.
Well,
You don't have to do that.
Unless you want a motion,
Well, I'd
and
like to, you know,
it could die from one to the
we
second.
want to get the garbage trucks and so forth. We don't know that this is going to pass when we meet next time. Is it okay to have two ordinances?
Only if there's a motion and a second and a majority of votes.
All right, well, I'll make a motion to introduce this as a backup.
Do I have a second?
Now, talking about ordinance.
Well, the alternate.
Number 18.
It's not necessary.
And the purpose is that if this doesn't pass, then we don't have to wait around for another round.
A second, so it dies. May I have a motion? May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you all. See you on the,
Here. I have a piece of what I call, I think, good news for you.
Should we have a motion to have a second voice of the public?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
you can just, I'm sure we can
This is
just.
more of
yeah.
a commentary
It'll be on the tape.
about the police department. My wife, on the Wednesday before Good Friday, my wife was in the attic in our garage. We live over in the Mews, by the way. She was attempting to get down some decorations for the grandchildren and things like that. And the ladder slipped and she fell, hit her head on the rafters and fell down to the ground and broke her ankle. And I work over here in the building right next to the 7-Eleven, so she was able to call me, and I came over. My daughter happens to work in our business, so she came also. And we called the police, and they were there almost instantaneously. It's almost like the guy was driving by the gate. And he just took charge. My wife was in severe pain, as you might imagine. She was bleeding, and my wife has to take Coumadin because of her heart condition, so there was a concern there. And the first policeman, and let me just get the names, because they need to be acknowledged for this. And I'm not sure in what order they arrived, but one of them was Michael Matumas,
Matunis,
and the other one was Casey Wilms. Okay. The first gentleman was there and gave aid to my wife and made me feel better too, because I felt that there was a presence there who knew what he was doing, even though I don't think that's his primary job. And then the second gentleman arrived, and he kind of coordinated the flow, and all of a sudden the Spring Lake Volunteer Company came, and then all of a sudden the other company came, Ocean, I forget what it, Monmouth Ocean. And all I want to do is just commend these gentlemen for their professionalism. They comforted my wife. They're in a very tough period because she was in very, very severe pain. And these gentlemen were just true professionals. They're a credit to the town, credit to the force, and I just wanted to acknowledge that.
thank
in
you for
front of the
coming.
public.
Yeah, we have wonderful police. And by the way, most of our police have gone on their own and become EMT certified, which is why they're able to respond. They don't even have to wait for the first aid to come. They know what to do.
Oh, this guy took charge. I mean, if he was the only guy that showed up, I think everything would have worked out fine, you know, just with him.
Yeah.
And the other gentleman accepted his role as the coordinator and did a fine job making sure all this stuff happened.
Great.
And then boom, 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 things started happening and.
We're very lucky. And thank
Yeah.
you for coming to tell us.
No, I just felt it had to be said.
Sir, can I
Thank
have
you.
your name?
My name is Jack Quinn, Locust Court, Spring Lake Heights, the Mews.
Okay.
We'll get that message to them.
Please do.
We will.
Hey, I spoke with David about it, and I said I'd be here. It took a few weeks from when I said I would be here because we've had a few little problems here and there with her ankle. And my wife today is over at the U.S. Tennis Open.
Oh,
So
good.
she is
Good
back-
for her.
She's back on her feet.
Good for her.
Bitching all the way, so.
Okay, well, good luck, everybody. Hope you get power.